Yeah.
Kerry Kearney, master blues musician. That was from what album?
From the Smokehouse Serenade, the new one. Actually, it's been out about a year or so, a little more. And we did really good on radio. We made #1, actually, on Blues Radio last April. So, and that was Statesboro Blues. That's an old Blind Willie McTell song that the Allman Brothers made very famous. But I kind of kept to my own little version of it, so that was it.
Now, I have to say, first of all, thank you, because you did something really incredible last year, well, earlier this year, which was you performed at my father's place for the United States Navy's USS Tornado crew. They were stationed over as part of Fleet Week at Kings Point, and we had part of the crew come over. I guess some people had to stay and guard the ship. And you put on a rockin' performance. And it was just the crew was so appreciative. I think, and then we had a lot of people who are either alumni from Kings Point. We had some veterans in the audience. It was really, really cool how many people we had there, and just the raw enthusiasm. Thank you for doing that. It was just a wonderful.
Oh yeah, our pleasure. It was great. You know, and anything for the boys.
Yeah,
boys and girls.
That's true. That's true.
Right, got to do that.
You know, and we had some great interviews with the whole crew. And one of the cool things that we did is we had a veteran who's about 90 years old who is in a ship during the 48 to 51 time frame, not too dissimilar to the kind of ship that they were on today. And they were all comparing notes
oh, wow.
about ship life then and now. And it's pretty much, it's evolved, but you can see that, a lot of it's the same. So okay. So you played a lot of that music at my father's place.
Yes.
It was just a great performance. So tell us a little bit about the album and what you're working on kind of now. Because I understand there's some like a little project coming up.
There was for Christmas time. Yeah,
right. All right. So let's talk about that album because you kind of just kind of finessed how well received it was, and this show is all about shameless promotion. So let's hear a little bit about some of the songs, some of the influences. You said that the song that we played, which was track number 3. Was an Allman Brothers song, Statesboro Blues, with your own. What else is on there?
You know what it is? It was written by Blind Willie McTell. Blind Willie McTell put out some stuff in the late 20s, right? When he was rediscovered, there was a rediscovery back in the early 60s, okay? And one guy's name was Harry Smith. He put out an album in Greenwich Village. They did this thing. They compiled all these really great tunes from like way back when. And when it came out, that's what started the whole new blues boom and folk boom and all that stuff around that time. That turned in the 60s. So in the whole Bleecker Street sound. So what happened was when that came out, he had passed away a couple of years prior, in 58, Blind Willie McTell. So he never saw the resurgence and the recamping of everything that was going on from the 20s, which a lot of guys did, like Mississippi John Hurt. There's a lot of these old great players that kind of came into the folk fest of Newport, what came out like that. But when they went to find him, they found that he was already dead. So there was a couple of tunes they had from him that was really great, and one was Statesboro Blues. And Taj Mahal did it actually in '68, a couple of years prior to the Allman Brothers. He did that tune. It sounds pretty much like it, the same type of riffs and all like that. The Allman Brothers took it; it went through the roof, pretty much what they did. So what I try to do is if I take a song like that, a classic tune, I try to make it our own feel. And that song has like a little bit of Louisiana feel, which I love the Louisiana sound. New Orleans.
I was ready to pull out a little gumbo from under the table.
Heat it up, I'm ready. But a little of that. So what I try to do with each tune, I find that a lot of blues can be kind of the same thing. I'm not saying it's boring, so I love all blues music, but it could be a little monotonous after a while. If you have like 20, some people have like 20 tunes on an album. It's amazing. And I'm saying albums. We'll see these. And it could be all like the same type of thing, the same kind of shuffle, or the same kind of like slow blues. Each one of our songs, I try to do a little bit of the gamut of everything, whether it's New Orleans, whether it's Texas, whether it's the Delta, whether it's Chicago, type thing like that. So each one is its own little thing. So it keeps you kind of not too boring. You can go around the house and clean your house with it. It's great. Usually as a coaster if you want, but it's one thing you just put on, let it rip. And that's what I try to do like that. So it makes it more interesting. It makes it interesting for me, too, because I get to play all those kind of styles, which is great. And it gives everybody, like our piano player, David Bennett Cohen, he's a really great, what would you say, like barrel house type piano player. It gives him, time to like stretch out, which is great. And he was with Country Joe and the Fish for years. back then. He was one of the original guy. Yeah.
While we're on the subject, because we're never scripted here. Tell me about your current band and who's in it and who's played. Because when you played at my father's place, you had this really great musicians on stage with you, and I thought they were just all stellar.
With a show like that, I'm able to get all the plays I'm looking for pretty much. In my father's place, of course, it was great. The Great South Bay, I do that too at the same time. I try to make it into a show where people are kind of hanging out. They come in to see like a whole thing. My usual
suspect.
My usual suspect will be only the three of us. I do like a trio. Okay, I also have a really great conga player, Nydia Miata, which is really fantastic, and it turns into this little bit of like a Cuban, Afro-Cuban blues thing, which is really great at the same time. I have it playing that too. So I mean, that's pretty much the four of us. It's like it's Nydia on conga. Mario Stiano, really great drummer, and Jerry Sorrentino on bass. And those two guys were with Savoy Brown for years. They were their backup band. And so I have a really unbelievable. To me, I always say to myself, "Well, he sounds so good." I'm like, "Well, I got a great backup band." I mean, to me, it's like without a band like that, it's you could be. It's funny. You could be like not a virtuoso guitar player. If you have a great backup band, it doesn't make a difference what you're doing because it's just great. You know what I mean? And if you are a virtuoso and the band behind you is not that really kicking, you can really feel it. It's not, but that's the real meat and potatoes of everything. It's a great drummer and a great bass player, and those guys are great.
So who do you like to go? Like if you could just put on a pair of sunglasses and go in stealth mode and go out there, who would you like to actually see as an audience member and as a fan right now who's out there?
There's a lot of people. It's funny. The other night I played with John Hammond.
Oh wow!
And I'll be an audience member, watching that. But I actually got a chance to play with him actually on the same stage, which is great. Him and Guy Davis. Thank you. I keep remembering his name. But Guy Davis actually is the son of Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis, the actors, and he's a really great Robert Johnson type guy. And what we did was we did a Robert Johnson show, and it was myself, a guy named Rob Europe. He's an up and coming guy from the island. Guy Davis and John Hammond, and I thought it was fantastic. It was great. It was out at the Suffolk Theater. It was amazing. But it was a Robert Johnson night. And it was fun. I like that kind of stuff. I like watching Delta like that. Delta blues is really a lot of fun. And I'm going to go pretty soon. I'm going to go to actually I got to talk to Epi about doing this sometime. I'm going to a Django Reinhardt show, and it's Django was a player from way back in actually in France. He was a gypsy. Who only used two fingers because he got it burnt off. The rest of his hand was burnt in a fire.
Oh, wow.
So he only plays with two fingers, and he plays better with guys with all the fingers, you know what I'm saying, at the same time. But he passed away in 1953, and it's gypsy jazz. And I like doing that. I like watching that stuff. That's amazing. You know what I mean? I like because in a lot of ways, too, I don't mind. So I have a really bad allergy, and it's killing me. I think I'm doing some kind of drug or something like that. It's killing me.
Have a little water.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, but watching that's great. And I love. And it's not something that I do. It takes a lifetime to learn that kind of music. And to me, it's like watching something I just don't really, I understand it, but I can't really do it. So to me, that's great watching that like that. If I'm saying, wow, that's really cool.
Now, do you have like an amazing record collection, in all the formats?
I did it one time. It's funny you say that because for a while in my actually CD player, I had the greatest hits of Desi Arnaz.
Wow.
And it was all
because he was actually really good. People don't realize that he was really good at what he did.
And the recordings were pre I Love Lucy. And what they did was, I think it was CBS or somebody gave him the opportunity to go out in the late 40s to go around the country as this team. So it was Lucy and Desi, and they were doing stuff, and she did all the little. And in the show, you see their little skits. Is a lot of singing stuff is from their show they did. And that's what started the whole thing, to get out there and do it. So they wanted to see what the reaction of the public was. And that's what it was. And I had that on because it was like something, radio was like, kind of down on me a little bit with stuff. I wasn't really into it too much. Trying to find something on the radio. Even late at night, I can't find stuff. Even on like a public radio, I can't find anything sometimes. Although now it's different. But it's getting back into that little realm. But for a while there, it was not that good. So I listened to that. I have that in my thing. Django Reinhardt, like I was saying about Django. Some really obscure blues stuff. And maybe some classical stuff, but things that I don't really normally do. I like doing that like that.
So where do you go record shopping now? Now that the classic, okay, because the classic places that all of us used to go to,
right.
When we would travel and go to like New Orleans or Chicago, whatever you go. I remember going to the Caribbean, and I literally walked into a store and I said, "Who are the best local artists, and they thought we were like feds or something. 'Cause, you know, and I said, no, I collect music. Just who's really good. So when they realized that we were really just music fans, but I went to Spain and I was like who's the Madonna of Spain, you know? And I would just collect music, but you can't really get that. There's really no J&R Music World. There's no Tower Records. There's no Sam the Record Man like there was in Toronto. Right. And then, of course, our friends at WLIR used to get everything from overseas and shipped, you know, to the States way before they hit our shores. But aside from eBay, where did you go now? Where did you go when those outlets were available?
Well, I used to go, Sam Goody, of course, back then. There was a place called Titus Oaks. It was on Avenue U and Ocean Avenue in Brooklyn. And they had a really, really big selection out there. It was unbelievable. It was kind of like Bleak and Bob's type thing, but cheaper, like that. So I'm saying about eBay now is amazing because I'll go on, I'll find an obscure album or CD from like, you know, way back when, even vinyl, and it's like $5 and free shipping. I mean, you can't beat it. It's great. And I'm one of those people. I have a flip phone. If I had a rotary dial on it, I'd love it even better. You know what I mean? So I'm still a CD guy. I'll pop them in. I have a 5-change or whatever, and I'll just put them in and just let it go. And a lot of them, like, they're remastered. They really sound great. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. It was Stones, the first 16 albums, and it was with Brian Jones up to like 68. It's a little box set, right? I saw it on there for like $100, $200. I got it for $15 from China on eBay with no shipping. It was unbelievable. It's fantastic. I mean, it's great. And that stuff like that, like you'd always find stuff. It's amazing. And like I said, I'll just keep doing CDs as long as I can. You know, I like it. You know what I mean?
Now between cassettes, 8-tracks, 78s, 33 vinyls, and other, what's your favorite format? Because I've talked to a lot of different artists, and some people have actually said that they just really miss vinyl because it was warmer. It had, you know, aside from the fact that it was tactile,
right,
and you saw, you know, pictures and lyrics, and you were able to touch it, and so there was something romantic about the hisses and the pops in it. Where do you like to listen to?
And if it was an album that opened up, you'd always find seeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From somebody. But anyway,
it's a family show.
And it's almost legal. But it's funny. I used to. I do love vinyl. About vinyl, what's great about it is that it's vibrational. So when you hear the drums and the bass, it's the warmth of it too, the analog warmth. That's amazing. And when I record digitally, we record Smokehouse, the last album digitally, of course. I've done it for a bunch of years, and they have some stuff in. They have some apps in the studio that actually makes it analog again. So what you're doing is, even though you're doing digital, you're screwing it up into the analog, which you're trying to get away from in the first place. But you want that sound though, because there's little like rounded areas, and when you're finger picking guitar, or whatever, or doing something that sounds a little too stale, a little too something going on, a little metally, something like that. So what it'll do, it'll round those off, so you get that tape sound. In other words, I love that like that, and that's where the analog comes in. I mean, tape. I used to have a reel-to-reel when I was younger.
I remember reel-to-reel,
and that sounded great too. Fantastic. Yeah.
Now, do you remember 8-track tapes when, in the middle of the song, it would go?
Oh yeah, to the next one.
Click.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. I remember having a 45 of American Pie. You have to. It was so long, you had to turn it over. In the middle of the song, they would fade it. Then you turn the thing over, and it was the other side, like that. Yeah.
I'll never forget when my cousin told me, one of the earlier 45s that I ever purchased was Light My Fire by the Doors. And then my cousin told me, she said, you know, on the album, there's a longer version.
Yeah.
You know,
I have something about the Doors. It's funny you said that. When I was about 6 or 7, I think I was probably 6. It was 67, so I was born a little bit later in 67. I mean, I was born in 1960 in August. So this was like... probably around Christmas time, I guess, in 67. My brother brought the album home. I remember laying in bed and hearing Light My Fire like 3,000 times. And I couldn't stand the Doors after that.
Wow.
I mean, I like the Doors. I did, you know, eventually get into them. But it's like I remember hearing it. I was like, that's about the sound of the organ just like killed me. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what. About 20 years ago, I was walking through the Village, right? The Bottom Line was still open, Great Bottom Line. And... a guy walked up to me and he says, "Listen, I have 2 tickets for, Ray Manzarek tonight. If you want to come and see him, it's for the second show." So I wasn't doing nothing. A friend of mine was with me, so I said, "Sounds great." So we'll go in. So we played the Bottom Line back then, actually. So I knew, I knew all the guys out, like Stanley and everybody. And so I walked in, and they're like, "Oh, Kerry, what's going on?" So I said, "Listen, I took tickets from this guy. Come on, sit over here." So he sat us down, and Ray Manzarek came out by himself, and he played. He didn't sing. He started playing the tunes. He'd say a little thing. Well, me and Jim, we were on the beach, and this came out of the song. And so he started playing the tune, and the whole audience sang. It was the most unbelievable, and that right there made me like have my respect more for the Doors again. But he was doing the stuff, and it was such a great, great show. I remember singing with everybody. It was really, really, really amazing. It was really great.
Wow. All right, this is Richard Solomon with Kerry Kearney. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.